Hello, my name is Keith Buswell, and I'm a senior solutions engineer with Exaforce. And I wanted to take a quick opportunity to give you a little demo today of some of the things that we've been working on to make detection engineering lives a bit easier inside of the platform. And this is something that I hold near and dear to my heart, just from a 10-year SIM background, writing those SIM rules and stuff like that. Really, you were kind of at the limitation of knowing the query language or enabling certain rules out of the box, going in, try to customize those. So that's something I know that definitely, I appreciate, and some of my colleagues would appreciate as well, is just trying to make that whole thing easier, especially when you're trying to migrate from one SIM to another SIM and say, hey, I have the JSON, I have the export, like, can you just go ahead and convert this into your language really easily? And oftentimes that was not something that was really easy to do. You had to go find somebody that knew the language or professional services, things like that. So I wanted to demonstrate that for you today on how we can make your life a lot easier migrating from any kind of query language that you're using before, drop it inside of our system, and let it go convert those rules for you. Before I do that, just a little background. I think traditionally, Exaforce has been known as just an agentic AI SOC platform, and I think what most people think in their head is that, okay, great, they're going to help me triage my alerts, give me that starting point of the things that are really important that I should be looking at, and that is definitely something that we do. But we also have an entire behavioral suite baked into the platform as well. So as you start to bring in those raw logs, config files, alerts, and things like that, we're able to baseline the activity for your machines, users, service accounts, things of that nature, and let you know when things are deviating away from their normal profile based off of a whole different slew of different factors inside of here. And that's something that we have inside of here as well. And so we can trigger our own detections. But just like with any environment, there's always going to be those scenarios where there's going to be things like, hey, every single time this happens, we want to know about it. And so those more of those static rules are things that you're going to want to have baked in some scenarios as well. And so what we can do inside of here is that we can go create those rules, and you have a couple different options where you can say 100% of the time, I want this to be an alert, notify me, we want to triage it ourselves. No big deal. Or you can say, I want to go create this rule and let the Exabots go ahead and go to work and do the triage for us, and have them let us know what they think about it. So what I wanted to do is kind of demonstrate that how you can create those rules inside of here and make your life really easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and minimize myself here. Let's go ahead and put myself up in the corner. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and dive in. So under the Exabot detect sections, what we're going to do is go into rules. And what you'll see right here is that we have threat rules. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go create a brand new threat rule right now. And but what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, basically, I don't know. I don't know how to use your system. I don't know how to use your logic, your query language. I don't know how to build any of this. And I'm going to show you a couple different things that you can do. So first off, is that you can just simply type in human language what you're thinking about. And so, for example, I could say something along the lines of, I want a rule to detect any time an S3 bucket is deleted. Okay, that's just kind of what I'm thinking about in my head right now. And so what's really nifty about this is that as soon as you type this out, the Exabot query is going to kind of give you an idea of what it's doing right now and how it's kind of thinking about your query. So right now it's saying, okay, I want to go, help this user essentially kind of detect when S3 buckets are being deleted. Let me go ahead and get the schema for the AWS data, and let's go ahead and start chipping away at this. So let's go ahead and wait for this to finish its query, and let's go see how it does. Okay, perfect. It looks like it's done now. So you can see generated query 1. It already loaded that over here on the left-hand side, and actually gave some follow-up questions if we wanted to kind of, add on to this as well. But this is perfect. So let's go see what it built out for us. So it's basically looking at our CloudTrail events where the event name is equal to delete bucket. It's saying that we're only looking for successes, and basically that there's attributes modified AWS 3 bucket. And now in the last 15 days, I can see I actually have 59 results down here, and I can see all the different buckets that were deleted. So in this particular scenario, I didn't need to do anything at all. Just kind of thinking in my head the scenario where I'd want to be alerted on, went and typed it in, and it went and built the whole thing for me. So super cool here. But I have other scenarios. So for example, one of the things that I've used historically quite a bit in the past is the Sigma HQ SIM rules library. So let's go ahead and go to their GitHub account, and let's see, let's go to rules. and let's go to identity, and we're an Okta user, so I'm gonna just go ahead and load Okta, and let's just go grab the very first YAML file, and let's just go grab this whole thing. So what I'll do is I can either just copy it straight from here. Of course, you can copy in the copy bar over on the top right. I'll just grab this, and let's go back to our rule builder. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go drop this language just like this inside of here. And let's go see what we get now. So you can see I didn't coach it. I didn't tell what to do. And let's go see. It says, okay, great. It says, I'm going to go help you translate the Sigma rule into a queryability detection rule. So it's going to go examine it for us. So let's go ahead and let that work for a second and see the results that we get back from it. Okay, cool. This one's done. And yeah, okay, so now you can see it says I went and generated query 2 here, gave us some additional questions as well. So let's go look at the findings here. So basically it said we're looking at Okta events where the data source equals Okta, and the JSON data contains, it's looking for essentially admin inside of there and one more value where proxy equals true. So let's go take a look at this rule that I grabbed, and essentially this one is looking for admin functions through proxy. So super cool. It went and did that whole thing for us. And actually in the last 15 days, I can see that we actually had one. I can see one of our users out of India was actually using a proxy and did a user update admin event on February 24th. So actually just 2 days ago. And as I start to scroll through this event, I can see the source IP that they did it from. Yep. So I can see that's from Croatia. So definitely not where they're from. We can see the event type that they did. We can see the ASN. We can see a bunch of really good info. One thing that is really awesome about this as well is if I hover over this session ID right now, it'll say, hey, do you want to go load that session and go see what they did? Super cool, because now I can just hit open on this one, and now I can see the identity. I can see the data source where all this came from inside of here. And what this is going to load for me is it loads the entire session and everything they did during that session. And so, for example, if I start scrolling earlier in that session, I can see, yeah, they're coming from India, and I can see all the different traffic, the failed activity inside of here, all the targets and event types that they're doing, all in chronological order, all the way up until the point that they went and did the user update that we can see that triggered the rule inside of here. So a really unique way where a lot of times if you have an event, I want to see the surrounding events. What did they do leading up to the event? What did they do after the event? And so in this scenario, if I come over here and click on location, it's going to highlight right here for me, and we can definitely see the 2 locations where they normally come from India, and then the one where they're coming from Croatia right here. And then also if I click onto the IP threats, it's going to highlight right here very clearly for me. I can see the source IP, I can see the username, and I can see that they're coming from a Tor exit node. And this is ultimately why that one ended up triggering for us inside of there. So this is a unique way that we could easily drill down into this and kind of see everything that we'd want to know about this user. Even from if I wanted to do more visual representation of the entire session inside of here, I can load it from a graph session and I can see the different IPs they came from, the user info, and all the different avenues that they did during that session. So just a really cool way, just like I don't know anything about your query language whatsoever. I found a rule, I dropped it in, you converted it for me. We did have a finding, and this is a good way that you can see like how chatty is this rule going to be ahead of time before we go and create it. So some really cool stuff that we can do there. Now up at the top, simply we're just going to go give it a name, a little bit of a description. Matter of fact, I might even just paste in the full description from right here inside of here. And this is where you're going to have an opportunity to either go create a detection with no triage. You can say 100% of the time, I want to know about it. Don't automatically triage and classify it and go do all that. Just leave it as is. And I'm going to go manually put in what the title, the severity is inside of here and exactly how I want it to be. Or you can say, hey, Exaforce, go ahead and auto triage this. And this is really cool because you'll see everything is auto now inside of here. It's like, we're going to go and look at it. We'll try to determine like how bad this actually was. Let the bots go to work on it. It'll give it a priority, a recommendation. It'll give it a name, a severity, and it's going to go do all these things for us. So some just really nice ways that's just going to make detection engineering life a lot easier. Not only from the aspect of the UEBA that we have baked already inside the platform that's going to let you know those deviations from normal, but now when you do have those rules that you want to implement, or maybe you got some new threat intel, or you're doing the SIEM migration, you can simply drop in the logic and very easily start get up and running inside of here. So I hope you found this informative, and don't hesitate to reach out for a demo or any questions. Thank you.